Hey everybody, I'm Quinn.
And I'm Scott, and it's time for the Almost Friday Show for February 3rd, 2010. Happy Chinese New Year. It's Year of the Rabbit now, as opposed to Year of the last year.
Which was, I think was horse?
Snake.
Oh.
Scorpion.
Bermuda Triangle?
No.
Oh. That was my favorite year. I don't know why they took that one away.
It's a good year.
It was a good year.
We've moved on.
We lost too many people that year. And from the gutters this week, we're checking out Batman, The Return of Bruce Wayne.
I didn't know he left, so this should be interesting.
Apparently, he told his secretary, he's like, hey, there's this island called Hawaii. I'm going to go chill on it for a while. And then while he was gone, crime went rampant.
Well, that's good.
And now he's back and he's like, I've hung up my Hawaiian shirt, I've put my layaway, and it's time to, get back to fighting crime.
He got bored because the criminals were too afraid.
Yeah.
Now
Plus, it
he's
was
got it.
really hot in his batsuit in Hawaii.
Why would he? I thought he said I had it. Was it?
Well, he wore it on top of the batsuit.
I see. That makes more sense.
He's
now.
got to protect his identity, but he wants to hang out Hawaiian style.
But he doesn't know people, and
Look, listen. It's not important.
I think I'm losing the point here. Yeah. Tech Insight this week. Basically, a lot of stuff's been going on in tech this week. We're going to tell you about the latest from the CRTC and how we finally won some kind of confused Canadian victory. It would be a confused victory if it was in Canada, wouldn't it?
Yeah. And if you're in Egypt, you can't watch this right now. Actually, you can
Actually,
now.
you can now.
But you wouldn't have been able to watch last week's episode.
No.
Because your entire country is in turmoil.
But hopefully that's going somewhere constructive. Pro-democracy.
Well, it's going to take a little while to get there. But we'll tell you what's going on.
It always does. And we're going behind the lens. Sony's announced some new things. JVC's done something stupid.
What else is new?
Yeah.
And in science this week, Sean's showing us how to make a solar death ray, I suppose.
It's always good. The Mythbusters tried that a few times. I've heard it didn't go well.
But apparently some teenager has figured out a better way to do it.
Interesting.
So,
We'll see.
We'll see what happens. And in Law of the Week this week, we're going to show you what happens when CSI goes too far.
Far too far.
Yeah. Without further ado, it's time for From the Gutters.
Hi everyone, welcome to another edition of From the Gutters. This week I'm going to be reviewing a book called Batman, The Return of Bruce Wayne. There was a story a while ago called Final Crisis where at the end of the book, spoiler warning, Batman gets killed by the Omega Beams. Darkseid, who lives on Apocalypse. Omega beamed, he's got these lasers that come out of his eyes. Omega beamed Batman, and he died. This story is the follow-up to that. What happened to Batman if he's not actually dead? Because one of his proteges went out to see if he could find the body of Bruce Wayne. Couldn't find it, but he did find a bunch of clues that Bruce Wayne's been around. All of these led to the beginning of this story. It was written by Grant Morrison and illustrated by 6 different illustrators plus a lot of different inkers, colorists. It is a very pretty book to read. I'm not going to go through all of the different illustrators because there are a fair number of them, and they all did a mostly competent job. But Grant Morrison, his writing on this book, a basic rundown of the story is Batman, at the end of Final Crisis, was seen drawing a bat symbol on a cave wall. And we're all like, oh, he's not actually dead, shocking. Because, DC doesn't have the balls to actually kill someone, apparently. And this is an ongoing problem of mine. I'm not going to get into it because everyone's heard it before, but basically death is not a permanent state in comic books, and I strongly object to that. So Batman is back. How does he get back to the main timeline, though? He skips through time because of the Omega energy that is left in his body, and it starts to accumulate every time he makes a time jump. I've been talking about this story with a few people, just to sort of see what other people thought about it. At the ending of almost every issue, he forgets who he is again. So half of the book is him trying to find out who he is, what's his identity, why is he going through all of this difficulty, why can't he remember what's going on. the best thing that I can sort of equate this to is in the Star Wars movies. Stormtroopers. There's one of these. A good example is the Stormtroopers. How did a bunch of teddy bears beat the Stormtroopers? Well, they explained it in the novels. And the novels did a lot of explaining, like the Millennium Falcon doing the Kessel Run in 12 parsecs, in less than 12 parsecs. Well, they explained that in the books. All of the stuff that didn't make sense in the movies, it was all explained and justified, I guess, in the books. And this is kind of what The Return of Bruce Wayne felt like. There were a bunch of holes in the story for Final Crisis. And this story really felt like it was trying to explain what all of these how all of these holes actually make sense. All of that being said, this was not a bad book. It would be not a good book for someone who has not read any of the other Bat stories. It is not a necessary book, I would say, for anyone. I know some big Batman fans who didn't read this story, and they heard what I had to say about it, and they're like, well, okay, it sounds like I'm justified in not having read it. So, all in all, Batman, Return of Bruce Wayne, mostly a beautiful story, beautifully illustrated, but not hugely entertaining, and at a price point of $24.99 US, too expensive to really waste a couple hours reading. I give this book D+, bordering on C-. Not a high mark. Should you go out and get it? Only if you're a Batman completist. That's it this week. I will see you soon. I'm Dave.
Hey everybody, welcome to Tech Insight. We're starting off with some Android news.
Yeah, Google had a big announcement type event yesterday, and basically they talked about a few things. First of all, they officially unveiled Honeycomb, which is going to be their Android version for tablets.
And that's 3.0, right? Isn't it?
2.3?
Is it?
I don't remember.
The Android person over there is saying 3.0.
Well, there you go. But it will be exclusively for tablets, so I don't count necessarily on getting Honeycomb on your smartphone, because it's just, they're kind of branching it a little bit. I think they've done a really good job here, because they had the Motorola Zoom there, which is the tab we talked about from CES, dual core and all that crazy stuff, and they were kind of just showing off what it could do. So they had lots of multitasking going on, graphics processing. I think they had like a 3D Google Earth rendition and things like that. They showed off its multitasking. It's kind of like a taskbar-esque thing.
Okay.
But in a way that it's not like Windows, but it's kind of taskbar-esque.
Okay.
So to basically help you multitask faster. It's got same widgets to show off the crazy widgets like you have on the normal Android. They showed off this like quick preference pane that gets you all the preferences you want like readily without having to delve into menus like brightness and Wi-Fi control and things like that, which is pretty good. You want to access those really quickly. Overall, it looked really smooth, really well put together. So I think that's going to be a contender.
So I mean, if you're looking to pick up an Android tablet, it's definitely wait for something.
If you're looking to pick up a tablet at all, wait till about the middle of the year.
Yeah.
Once a bunch of the Android tablets are out and the iPad 2's out, and the Playbook hopefully, then it'll be interesting.
Yeah, it'll definitely be a lot of buying for everyone's money for sure.
And the more exciting thing out of this announcement, I think, would be the Android web store. So right now, if you want to browse the Android marketplace, you have to do it on your Android phone. And some people are fine with that, but some people want a little bit bigger experience, or if you're on your computer and you want to browse around or something. So they made the Android web store, and basically it lets you look through all the apps available in the App Store. But what you do when you make your account is you associate it with, I think it's up to 5 or 6 devices. So
okay.
They understand if you have more than one phone or a phone and a tablet or whatever.
Yeah.
And then what happens is, let's say I'm logged in, I'm set up as my Android phone, and I buy an app. It just starts downloading on my phone. No tethering.
Yeah, so I mean, your phone in your pocket's going to start downloading automatically. You don't have to initiate anything on your phone?
You don't have to plug it in. You don't have to go, yes, download this on my phone, or go to the Android App Store and go to your list of purchases. No.
That's pretty neat.
I think where's iTunes on this?
Yeah.
Because even though there's less apps, that's a much better implementation of a store.
Yeah.
Just as a package. Because right now, if you want to buy apps through iTunes, You have to browse in iTunes, which is slow.
Or if you get linked from a website, you'll end up in the web app store. But if you want to download it, you still have to hop over to iTunes and then plug your phone in and then sync it over.
Which is just too many steps. This way, they could just be like, I sell this app. This is my webpage. Link to the Android App Store. Boom, it's sold.
Okay.
Now it's going to my phone. So I think that's a really good. I think you'll probably see Apple come back with something. But I think it's good implementation by Google. So if you're an Android person, this year's going to be a good year.
Cool. So if you haven't been paying attention to the news, Egypt has been in a bit of turmoil recently.
Yes.
The political reasons behind this is that they've had a dictatorship essentially for the last 30 years, and it hasn't been going well, and the better majority of the Egyptian citizens are at their end of what they want to tolerate from their government anymore.
Yeah, about last week, maybe Monday, I guess, or maybe a little later in the week, large-scale protests started. I mean, they've really been censoring information, and journalists have been being taken in by the army and the police and things. So it's really hard to gauge exactly what's going on over there. And we're not news agency, so big protests, like more than G8 and things like that. So they basically had enough. They want a real democracy put in place. And their current government's response was, let's shut off all communications.
So people were using the internet, more specifically Twitter, to stage protests. So people would be up on Twitter saying, we're on this street at this time doing this, and organizing all the rallies to really get as many people in, which is really sort of one of those things like, look at what technology can accomplish
Pretty
today.
clever way to do it, really easy to do.
Yeah.
And Egypt's a pretty connected country.
Mm-hmm.
So it seemed to be pretty effective, which is why the government put the kibosh on it.
So what Egypt decided to do was to turn off the internet.
They shut down the internet almost completely. There was some people who figured out a way to use clever proxies and things like that, but pretty much internet was gone. That includes for businesses, for the whole internet of the country.
Now there
down.
was one ISP that hung around a little bit longer because of its elite clientele, but it was also eventually shut down.
Yeah, eventually there was literally no internet.
And they also killed the mobile.
Mobile and for a short period of time landlines.
And not all landlines, but a lot of them.
No, yeah, and I think that came back faster than the mobile and definitely the internet, because the internet only came back on yesterday.
Yeah. So it was kind of an interesting scenario of the first time that we've seen a connected country essentially go dark.
Yeah.
Which is really, it's hard to fathom the idea of that big, switch and boom, you've got nothing.
It's a little concerning to think that the government, who you've elected, hopefully,
well,
obviously not
in this
that
case, no,
but I mean, in the States, such a kill switch exists.
Yeah.
If something goes down and the government decides no communication, they can do that. And that doesn't sit right with me.
No, I mean, ultimately, there's been a whole bunch of, photographers and journalists and everything going in to try and get information out. I mean, if you've been following it, you've been watching the Al Jazeera network, which is where all the information's coming through. And there's been a handful of sort of tech huddles. They're all in Tahrir Square is where they're mostly protesting right now. And they've hacked into street lamps to get power. And they've been running through basically hacked networks to get as much content as they could up. So, a video clip from a Canon SLR here and some photos here and whatever they could up. So there's these little hubs that they're trying to protect where they're getting information up. So it's really kind of this interesting, this is how we fight back kind of scenario.
This is where it's at, the people are getting cleverer than the establishment.
Now, obviously, the whole world has kind of been looking at this like, hey, what are you doing? This isn't right. A lot of us feel that this is, an improper use of power at this point.
I think what you saw is a lot of governments not react initially when they shut off the communications.
Yeah.
And a lot of everyone else going, whoa.
You guys, our government has to do something about it. There was a lot of people saying, hey, why aren't we doing something? Now, and to that respect, France actually very quickly opened up landlines that you could call into. Now, you're going back to dial-up, but dial-up is better than nothing.
Yeah.
And so there was a couple of ISPs from France that were allowing people to dial in. Those eventually got cut off in their own ways. But, it was interesting to see other countries going, listen, call this number, we're not going to charge you, we're going to get you internet because this isn't right.
And even I think Google actually has a pretty big establishment in Egypt, believe it or not. That's where they had a lot of their Africa, Middle East business. But they actually conveniently had this voice service set up. So there was a number, I think it was a UK number, you could call in and it would actually transcribe what you called. And then there was an independent party that was kind of working with Google but not officially, tweeting everything.
Okay.
So as you left your voicemail, it turned into a tweet.
Yeah, so I mean, it's as much as it's really bad to think about the idea of the switch being thrown, it's really interesting from a technological standpoint to see how they fought back.
Yeah.
You know, you've got these tech camps that are hacking streetlights to get power and building their own networks to get information up, and then you've got countries basically offering up services and everything like that.
And even companies going in and kind of saying, not officially, but hey, here's a service you could maybe use if you want it. And so it's kind of good in that way to see that there is kind of hope, but hopefully it'll all get settled. I mean, I think a lot of countries have pushed for Mubarak, who's the dictator.
Yeah.
He says he's not, but
well, when you're in power for 30 years,
yeah. To step down, and now they're going back and forth about, oh, if I step down now, the country will go into turmoil, and so he wants to step down. Anyway, we're not a political show, but
no, so we're not really going to delve into that, but we really wanted to cover it because of the technological aspect of you know, that giant kill switch, essentially.
But it is good. Communication is flowing through Egypt now again, so hopefully that'll...
So, I mean, if you're interested at all in the situation, definitely go read some of the articles, follow some of the news, because from an idea of how we fight back with technology, there's really been some innovative stuff going on.
For sure. Now, on a much smaller scale, there's been some turmoil in Canada, specifically about our communication system again. So last little while we've been talking about the CRTC, and have decided that usage-based billing is now okay for telecoms to charge people who lease their lines. Basically, that was to go into effect this week.
Yeah.
So basically, all the small ISPs like Tech Savvy and Storm and people like that who don't own any fiber, they pay Bell.
Yeah.
All their plans where their caps are dropping.
Yeah.
So like I think Tech Savvy had a 200 gig cap. They emailed their customers saying your cap's now 25 gigs.
Yeah. So
your price is the same.
A very large reduction. Now, normally Canadians, we're kind of passive people. If something goes wrong, we're kind of like,
we'll complain about it, but
we won't do anything about it.
Short of that.
Yeah.
But there's been ridiculous backlash on this, especially on the internet. There was a petition at stopthemeter.ca.
Yeah.
And I think 350,000 people.
I believe it was. I think someone mentioned that it was the largest petition in Canada.
Yeah.
For number of people that have signed it.
It was pretty large. And I mean, literally, my Twitter feed has been half this for the last couple days. So what's happened is, first of all, the Liberal Party and the NDP came out and said, "Look, we oppose this." They kind of want to curry favor because it's possible election coming up. Anyway, that's the political side of it. And then eventually the Conservatives, specifically the office of the Prime Minister, not the industry minister, he put out a post saying, you know, we'll look over it, but we're not going to do anything. And then the Prime Minister said, hey, I don't like this.
Yeah.
We'll turn it over if the CRTC doesn't reverse the decision.
Now, what you were pointing out is that obviously we both agree that the idea of it being turned over is good because this stifles competition because then the big guys get to still come around and charge whatever they want because no one else can offer anything
The way
different.
it's set up right now, I mean, it's not perfect, but if I want unlimited connection, the only way I can get that is through a small ISP.
Yeah.
Rogers doesn't offer it, Bell doesn't offer it, nobody offers it. Small ISPs do. You take a cut on speed, but that's how they work their business. And it's working well for them because if you want that unlimited bandwidth, to be honest, a cut from 20 to 10 or 10 to 5, not a huge deal, especially if the prices are still reasonable.
Yeah.
But what's going on there is basically Bell's ramping up their costs for, I don't want to get into the technical side of it because some people will argue that usage-based billing makes sense, some people won't. Does it really cost them that much money per month if you use this much data? Well, not directly, but...
Yeah, it's complicated.
That gets very complicated, but the current model, while not perfect, is a lot better than having all these small ISPs basically just go out of business.
Yeah.
So if I'm sitting there and I'm paying $50 a month and I get a 25 gig cap, I'm going to can my internet and go to anyone else.
Absolutely.
Like immediately, because the overages are going to be ridiculous.
Yeah.
So what's going to happen now is as of today, which is Thursday the 3rd, the CRTC says we're going to review our decision. That won't go into effect for another 60 days. Now, what's going to happen is if the CRTC, not technically a government organization, if they do not reverse their own decision, as soon as it goes before the government, gone.
So basically,
I wouldn't worry about it.
CRTC needs to reverse their decision, or someone else will reverse it for them.
Yeah, and I think the really big thing that is good about all these people becoming aware of this is a lot of people aren't aware of a lot of the decisions the CRTC makes, and they're starting to have more and more an effect on our budgets.
Yeah.
They're making a lot of decisions on telecoms and who to allow and who not to allow. Like Win Mobile, the CRTC said, sorry now.
Yeah.
The government overruled them. And it's kind of weird to have a consumer-based organization making the wrong choices and having a conservative government
Well, I mean,
overturn it.
There's been a lot of talk about the CRTC, unfortunately, being the wrong service now. They've been constantly making the wrong choices, and why are they there at all at this point? You know,
Like, yes, these things do need to be regulated so we don't get screwed in one way, but if we regulate it too much, we get screwed the other way.
yeah,
Or if we regulate wrong, we just get screwed, period.
yeah,
So it's kind of, I'm glad more people are aware of the CRTC. Because, like, I follow almost every decision they come out with that affects people. But a lot of people just go, oh, whatever, my cable bill goes up $5.
yeah,
Or, oh, whatever, Bell is the sole owner of CTV Globe Media now.
yeah.
Like, we talked about the NBC Comcast merger. Well, same thing.
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, we as Canadians tend to have this, I'll deal with it later. And then, as someone pointed out, we as Canadians tend to have a short memory span in the fact that they'll do something bad, we'll complain about it for a little bit, we'll stop caring, and then they'll do it again, and we'll be like, oh, this never happened before. And unfortunately, the companies make use of this to be like, we'll raise your rates $5 right now. And we argue about it for a little bit and then go, it's just $5. And then a year later, it's raise your rates $5 again, and we go, oh, well, I was only paying $60, so it's only $5 more, not realizing you've now paid $10 more in the grand scheme of things. And so where do you draw the line?
Yeah, so I think it's really good. There's going to be hopefully a lot more awareness going forward, and a lot more responsibility for the CRTC to not just make these wayward decisions. But for now, you can count on, I will guarantee you the use-based billing will go away.
Yeah.
For now.
So don't cancel your tech-savvy bill just yet.
No, definitely keep supporting the little guy, because, a lot of those are really great companies that were huge when dial-up was dial-up, and you could just be like, put up some servers and you're an ISP.
Yeah.
So we'll keep following that if anything else comes up, for sure.
So lastly, speaking of connected media, Rupert Murdoch's The Daily has been officially launched on the iPad.
Yeah, that's the thing we were talking about. That should have been launched in December, then should have been launched early January. Now it officially launched this week.
Yeah.
The reason we wanted to talk about it was because it's basically a newspaper-ish, magazine newspaper.
But only available on the iPad.
Only available on the iPad, which is an interesting choice. The iPad's obviously the winner in the tablet market right now.
Yeah.
But is it ever really a good idea to have if you're a content seller, don't you want to be everywhere?
Yeah. Well, I guess they figure that there's enough people using iPads and that the platform is robust enough that they can do what they want on it.
And they put together a really good app, to be fair.
Yeah.
It's quite good.
And it makes use of the fact that you're using a digital medium.
Yeah.
It reads well, but it's also got 360-degree photos and lots of media-connected clips and everything like that. So if you are someone who likes to, read the world news kind of idea, it's a really great option. On top of that, the pricing scheme's really good.
Pricing scheme is perfect.
They're offering 99 cents for a week, so that can kind of get you into the game if you're not sure whether you really want to stick around with it. That's 7 days of the paper, essentially, which is substantially cheaper than, like in Ottawa anyways, but the cheapest paper we have is the Sun. Well, outside of the obviously free papers, but the cheapest pay-for paper is the Sun, and then you end up paying $1.20 on the weekends or something.
Yeah.
So you're already cheaper than buying that for 4 days. And obviously, it's not going to be local news, but you're getting a lot more content that's actually appreciable, essentially.
If you like it, $40 a year.
That works out to less than $1 a week. So
that's money.
Yeah.
So I think the pricing is perfect. I think the content's great. My only problem with it is, well, why wouldn't you? If a year from now they also have one on Android,
yeah,
then there's no problem. If a year from now they're still on iPad, there's something that's not right about that. Like, you shouldn't be restricted to platform to get content.
I suppose.
Like, software is one thing,
I think
but
it might have
access to content.
It might have to do with how Apple's implemented pay schemes versus how Android's implemented pay schemes.
Well, Android has in-app purchases now. That was also announced.
Does it work as smoothly as Apple's, though, does?
I don't know. It just got released.
Okay.
Apple's isn't that great, to be honest.
I suppose.
Especially lately, because now they're enforcing it upon apps.
Yeah.
If you want to sell things outside your app, you now have to sell them inside your app as well. That's a new addendum. So if you're, the Kindle app, and you point people to your ebook store on the internet, you now also have to point them to an in-app purchase, which is just, hey, developers, because now they have to write this whole other scheme. But that's another issue. But I don't know. That just irks me. But it is really well put together. I can't.
Yeah.
It's.
Sam was pointing out it's the news. It's a day late because obviously it's like a regular newspaper. You get it. I believe it becomes available in the morning.
Yeah, I think it auto.
Or something like that. But, you know, it's the kind of thing that if you were reading the newspaper, this isn't really drastically different for you.
Well, no, and what you're going to get is slightly more developed content.
Yeah. And also, most people who read the newspaper is not because they're looking for any specific article. It's because they're looking for an overview of what's happening. Whereas you can't always get that from Twitter or from websites because you have to read a whole lot to get
And even if you go to
broad
a news
coverage.
website, as you see throughout the day, they'll have a little bit.
Yeah.
That'll be a little bit more.
Yeah.
And the same story becomes, a page instead of 2 lines.
And you got to go back and reread it. And things
Yeah,
like that.
so, if that's the way you want to take in the news, which, to be honest, a lot of people do already.
Absolutely.
It kind of makes sense.
All right. That's Tech Insight for this week.
It's kind of alive.
Nah, it's still dead.
Oh. You staring at my breasts?
Maybe?
Well, quit doing that. We gotta do science. Up here, Sam.
Okay.
Up here. Oh, over there.
Over there. Okay, cool.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to This Week's in Science. Stop staring at my shirt.
He's up here, guys. Up here. Come on.
Quick explanation. When NASA said they found life, that's what I expected. Bastards. Anyway, this week in science, we have pretty interesting stories.
Mm-hmm.
Starting it off, we have, something that stirred up a bit of controversy on the internet.
DIY solar death ray.
Yeah, really, really neat thing.
Mm-hmm.
The Mythbusters fought with it twice, actually 3 times, I think, even.
3 times.
And they weren't able to get it to work. Mind you, it was at a great distance and large
They
scale.
were doing it very, very specifically, and they needed specific results. So.
Exactly. Whereas this gentleman, Eric Jackman,
Yep.
in Indiana,
Yep.
was able to do this using an old satellite dish, essentially. Took the horn off of it. And
he mounted it to a little dolly to move it around easier.
and how many mirrors was it?
5,800 little tiny mirrors, probably about 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter.
And basically put them all over this dish.
Yep.
Basically set it up so it had a focal point. I can't remember the distance.
I think they said it worked at about 2 feet, and
Yeah.
the actual point was about 1 centimeter.
Yeah, it was a decent distance away. And it's like instant flame though. Like he's in the video. We have a clip of it here. Like it's a block of wood, and it's like a little bit away, and then whoosh.
And if you keep watching the video, he's just holding up more and more things to it.
Yeah.
You can watch them burn. Hooray.
He cuts a tin can, like a soda can, in half using this thing. So it's pretty powerful for what it is. Interesting story. It's destroyed.
In a shed fire.
Potentially started by said device. But that's not so bad because he's thinking big now.
He wants to make one with 32,000
Mirrors.
mirrors.
Next world domination.
Woo.
Pretty much. And remember, a green mad scientist is the mad scientist of the future.
Also, Sean, what the hell are you doing with your life? This kid is 19.
Look. I got no excuse.
All right.
I've got none. I'm wasting my life. What can I say?
Exactly. So now moving on to something a little bit more useful and practical.
Yeah, in case you happen to stand in front of said death ray that burns you terribly, and I don't mean that to actually be funny because this is kind of serious, we have found this interesting story, an interesting device from the McGowan Institute of Regenerative Medicine. It's been showing up over the web, showed up in Gizmodo and a whole bunch of others, and it's to help out burn patients.
It's basically like skin gun. So
Yeah,
like
they call it the skin gun.
something that you use in Star Trek.
Yeah, essentially what this does is if you have a burn, and we're talking serious burn, like, we're talking like 2nd to 3rd degree.
Something you'd have to get a skin graft for.
Exactly. And skin grafts, and people die when they have a major burn on their body. They'll die mostly from infection. So to cut down on this, they've had different ways they use skin grafts, which still horribly scar you and take a long time to heal.
Weeks and weeks and weeks, depending on the size. Of
Exactly. And then there's also, they've been growing skin, like sheets of skin for years now, but that still takes weeks to grow a sheet probably
It's
useful
mostly
enough.
the healing time that's the main problem in this, just because
Exactly.
while it's healing, it can get infected and dirty and all
And
that good stuff.
it's a huge process to keep any kind of burn wound that's major very, very clean and very sterile. However, George C. Gerlach at the Institute of Regenerative Medicine in McGowan, he figured this out. It's such a great idea They essentially take your healthy skin, and they can render out stem cells from it.
Yep.
And they put it, and they
So
suspend
you're
it in.
taking very specific
Yeah,
cells.
it's very, very specific. So, and they suspend it into an aqueous solution, so solution of water,
Or
and
some
they
liquid.
they put it into essentially an airbrush for like paint.
Yeah, so it is quite literally spray on skin.
hmm
Sure.
So basically, the best story they have is of a police officer who actually got burned, second-degree burns down his face, bit of his chest and torso, down his arm, and it was pretty bad. He was basically just had a big blister, and so they popped a bit of it. And what they did was they sprayed him with this.
Yeah.
That was on a Friday. Monday he went in for his checkup. Basically completely healed.
Basically, the Gizmodo article also says that instead of taking weeks and weeks to heal, it takes anywhere from a couple hours to up to a day.
Yeah,
So,
it's very,
pretty awesome.
very, very fast. And this is amazing. This is such a great step forward. This is still experimental.
Very.
However, the results are kind of speaking for themselves.
Yep.
It's amazing the speed that these people are healing at with this treatment. Not to mention what this opens up new doors. I mean, we've been growing and manufacturing organs for a while now, simple organs. And now that we know that we can actually get a sort of stem cell from skin to help heal the body again,
Even if it's something really basic, like
Yeah.
you cut your arm with a knife or something.
and we've had treatments
Yeah,
for
you
such
could
things.
go to the hospital hypothetically, and a couple hours later you're good.
Well, we've
And
had
you won't-
treatments for
you won't
such things
barely see
before.
anything.
Like if you get a major gash, for instance, there are stories of people who've been bitten by venomous snakes in the stomach. Is a good example, and the venom actually goes down, tears up the flesh, and you can actually render out essentially a super paste from your own blood. That'll help heal that much faster. So this is just
Sweet.
that was a step forward. This is going even further. Got to pay attention. We got to keep seeing if this gets
And
better.
like most things in this segment, we're definitely gonna keep an eye on it. And just one very last thing: if you're gonna click the link in our show notes, just be careful. The video is a little bit graphic.
It is a little graphic, so squeamish, stay away.
Yeah.
But that wraps up for Mad Science this week. Quit staring at my breasts.
Sorry.
Hey everybody, welcome to Behind the Lens. This week we're telling you about more new cameras, because they always new cameras.
It's always new cameras or something like that.
This time from Sony.
Yeah, so Sony decided to bring out two new cameras this week. They've got the HX9, which is an update to their HX5, and the HX100, which is sort of their high zoom camera. Now, what's impressive about these cameras is the ridiculous amount of technology they have put in them. All right, first off, the HX9 is a 16 times optical zoom, so
Okay.
it's your large zoom compact point and shoot. It does 1080 60p at 24 megabits per second. Okay.
60p.
So normally, what you lose out on with a point and shoot is you don't get the bit rate of a camcorder.
Yeah.
Well, this has 1080 60p at the bit rate of a camcorder. Okay. It also does 10 frames per second at the full 16 megapixels, and it does a multi-image panoramic that will get you 42 megapixel panoramic image.
And that's one of those
Yeah.
things.
And Sony does it really cool. What you do is you start it, and it's got this little arrow, and it can sense that you're moving it, and it just rapidly takes pictures. You don't have to push the button a whole bunch of times. So you just go click, and then do this, and then it stitches it all together for you. So that's ridiculous. I mean,
You're just
wide-angle
cramming it
lens,
all in
16
there.
megapixels. It's also got a 3-inch, 921,000 dot screen, which you never see on a point and shoot. Like, you'll usually get like 230,000 dots, or even if you're lucky, like 460,000 dots. But this has the same screen resolution as an SLR. 1080 60p, 24 megabit video, 42 megapixel panorama. It's got the same 3D creation mode that it has. And then just to make it a little bit more ridiculous, the HX100 has a 30 times optical zoom. That's using a Carl Zeiss T-Star lens on it.
That's enormous.
So really great glass, 27 millimeters up to 30 times optical zoom, with all the same features. So you still get the high resolution screen and
Very cool.
So they're pretty neat cameras. Sony has really made some amazing top-end point and shoots. I was a big fan of the HX5. We reviewed that, and I liked it a lot. And so I'm excited to see these. I mean, I'm not happy that they're 16 megapixels, but if Sony's put the processor in there that can do this, I don't know. Maybe we'll see some pretty awesome stuff from it. JVC decided they wanted to make the PX1. It looks like this. It's really stupid. We're moving on. Now, Pentax has decided that they're going to join the mirrorless cameras.
Yes, very popular lately.
Yeah. Now, Pentax has decided that they're going to do it differently than everyone else, which Pentax likes to do.
With a mirror?
Well, no, because that would kind of defeat the purpose. A lot of people assume that Pentax was going to use the Micro Four Thirds system, and honestly, that would be a good option because hey, it's a whole other company worth of lenses, so everyone can use them.
Oh.
But Pentax has said, well, you know, we just don't think that size of camera is small enough. So they've decided that they're going to mimic their old Auto 110 cameras, which used the little 110 roll film, which was like yay big. So the camera's going to be about this big. It's supposed to be. We've had the Sony NEX on the show.
Yes.
It's smaller than that. Okay. Basically, there's no confirmation of what the lenses are going to be using right now, but it's a pretty strong consideration. They're going to be using older C-mount lenses. That is what the old Pentax 110s used. Now, here's the catch to it. Is that the main reason people go to a mirrorless camera is that they want to have the large imaging sensor of an SLR, but they want a smaller size.
Yeah.
They don't necessarily really want the lenses that comes with it. It just happens that the lenses come with it. I'm sure if you gave someone a large imaging sensor with just one good fixed lens, most people would be fine with that.
Yeah.
Pentax has kind of taken the two worst parts of both of them and put them together because they've got all these lenses, which people don't necessarily care about, but in order to make the camera really small, they've put a point-and-shoot size sensor in it. So it's using a 2/3 size sensor, which is what you get on your average $150 point-and-shoot.
So what do they think the market is for this?
Niche?
People who really don't know what they are and just kind of
Possibly.
look at the Sony NEX and go, that's smaller, I want that
I mean,
one.
when we did that review of Pentax's lineup, and
Yeah.
they had the weird one that had the button that wasn't really a button, and it was a stupid design, whoever would buy that camera,
That'd be the same person.
yes.
Yeah, they'd have both.
So Pentax is kind of going, and Pentax is their CEO, I forget what his name is, but basically his words, we want to create something that shines through. Those are his specific wording. But the problem is they've put a small sensor, which means they're not going to get the image quality of a standard mirrorless camera, and then they've added all the lenses, which people don't really want to fiddle with.
No, because if you want the lenses, you also want the full-size sensor.
Yeah.
So,
So I mean, it's pretty strong rumors right now. There's no pictures of it or anything like that. Although we did show you a picture of what the original 110 for a size comparison looks like. Supposed to be some more announcements around May. Now, interestingly enough, Kenko, who doesn't really make cameras, but they make lots of camera accessories, typically known
Okay.
for their extension tubes and teleconverters and everything, has decided that they're going to make a mirrorless camera as well. And their mirrorless camera is using C-mount lenses. So that's kind of interesting because if Pentax
Yes.
does decide to come out and use C-mount lenses,
there could be something
then there could be some cross-compatibility. Now, Kenko has really designed this camera not to be anything special. It's supposed to be budgeted around $300, which is pretty cheap. But it's not going to take any video. It's just going to take some stills. It's not going to have a pop-up flash. And it's going to work with these C-mount lenses, which are arguably pretty small. We don't really know a lot about the sensor in the Kenko yet. It's got probably the same 5.6x crop, so it's probably using the same small sensor as well. So I don't really know if either one of these cameras has a whole lot of room
See,
to accomplish anything.
Maybe if the Kenko had the full-size sensor, but was cheap, there'd be a time, someone might want that.
Yeah.
But if it's the 2/3 sensor with the C-mount lenses by a company no one's really ever heard of making cameras,
Well, they do make camera lens accessories, so the lens part's not a big deal. But the rest of it,
camera
yeah,
part,
yeah.
so I don't know.
So I really don't know what to say about these because on one hand I'm kind of interested to see what Pentax is going to do, but I think Pentax is basically taking the worst two parts of this and putting them together.
They're pulling a Pentax.
Yeah, really, they are.
Yeah.
And then Kenko's kind of a nobody on this market, so we'll see if that's actually any good. The image we have of the Kenko, it's not a very pretty looking camera. This black box. with a
Kenko
lens
doesn't
on
sound
it.
pretty.
I suppose. I mean, Kenko sounds like I'm gonna go buy some groceries or something. So, I mean that's it. So as we get more specific information on those cameras, we'll let you know.
For sure.
But until then, that's Behind the Lens this week.
Hi everyone, and it's time for the lull of the week.
That's right. And what's funny this week is basically, in CSI, where they sit down with the guy at the computer and he goes, zoom in there. Now make it clear, and magically you can see the reflection in the mirror, and then you can read the writing on that piece of paper, which you can't do. The comedy troupe Good Neighbor have basically taken that a lot further, and just watch. Yeah.
What is the point of all this? We are wasting time here. Gitch, shut it down.
No Gitch. Zoom and pan.
Okay.
Wait for it. Stop, right there. Spin it up 716.
I'm on it.
Rotate. De-rotate. Nice, Brisbane. Pull it up. Lay up the alpha channel.
You guys fuck this up, you're gonna have to suck a Geek Squad's dick just to get another job.
Pull the B5 set. There it is. Touchdown.
Okay. Let's go inside.
Sir, we cannot.
No, he's onto something. Here. Applying the cat burglar's algorithm. There.
Shit, there's not enough light.
Well, that was interesting.
Yeah, so they zoomified.
They kind of rotated, unrotated.
17 degrees. They used the pimp algorithm. That's very useful.
Menorah light algorithm as well.
They didn't have enough candles.
No, they didn't. Actually, I think
in the clip art.
I'm actually wrong.
I like how they rocked the clip art.
Coded.
There you go.
It's true. It wasn't finished being coded. So there you go. That explains the lack of light candles.
Yeah, but
Interesting ending though. All
yeah,
came
didn't
back
actually expect. I did not expect it.
inside job.
Yeah. Don't watch this and then just like, oh, I know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Watch
you
it to
don't.
the end.
You don't know.
Yeah, it's just really funny.
It's the best of endings. And speaking of endings, it's time to end the show for this week. If you want to email us to tell us about why you hate the CRTC, you can email us at contact@almostfridayshow.com.
Or you can even follow us on our Twitter page, almost_Friday.
Check out when new episodes come out, what we're talking about, how much we hate the CRTC, what we're doing in terms of CSI. I'm counting on Quinn to just zoomify everything from now on.
I've got a couple images that I need enhanced. I think he can probably do it.
Do you know?
Oh my.
Inside job.